Hello, welcome back. I took a break for like 10 days just to stay away from the screen, did not see anything concerning computer. And it's very refreshing to take a break. So last time we stopped at analysis two, which is all about the files, folders, directories. We just, you know, we are delving into this because things to do with file, folders, directories are very, very important in the digital communication. In fact, we would not have anything to do with data if we don't have a space to store it, to store them or to keep them so that data can be processed. That is how important files, folders, directories are in defining the space, the storage, even processing of data, or the processor itself cannot work without memory. And memory is all about the storage, and the storage is all about file, and that's how important files are. So in the last video, we took a look at this, and we looked at some of the fallacies, but mainly we were interested in specifically knowing the binary system, because any number raised to the power of zero is one, and that one is an integer. It's like decimal system. So decimal system is not a binary. It's a base 10, binary is a base 2, and the digits of the binary system are used for presenting data digitally. That is very important to take home from the previous video. And also, the space is found by raising the bits as the power of the base. For example, 2 raised to, if you find that combination, then you will get the space required to store that particular bit, or the number of bits in the system. So that gave rise to the spaces, to byte, kilobyte, and so on and so on and so on. So there are other numbering systems as well. We have base 10, which is decimal system, and base 8, which is the octal system, and base 15, which is the hexadecimal base system. They are all useful, but the most important ones are base 10, which is the decimal representation of the number, and base 15. They are very useful in the current digital world, but base 8 are rarely used. I don't know whether there's any system that uses base 8. We have it there just for us to be able to understand the base numbering system that we have. And yeah, base 10 is the way how human actually, can understand things easily, because it's just like the integer numbers that you can see, the natural numbers, or the international numbering standard, that we can easily read, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and on and on and on like that. But that's not how computer works. Computer works at the level of bits, which is a binary system, base 2. So we look at the bits. Remember, I talked about something concerning 10 raised to the power 1, 10 raised to the power 2, because some people may mistake, like because 8 bits is under 10 bit, maybe, or 10 raised to the power 1 or 2. Therefore, it is meant to be like that, byte. But that's a fallacy. It's not supposed to be like that. So 8 bits is equivalent to 1 byte to represent a digital character in a system, and that is the standard. And then we also talk about the decimal number, which ranges from 0 to 127, used to represent all the characters that we can think of. And also we have hexadecimal system that are meant to be used for presenting characters in the system, and that is from 00 up to 7F. This is hexadecimal base 15. all used to represent or encode language, such as the language elements like letters from A to Z, and numbers from 0 to 9, and some other characters that you can think of. Could be a character of a sound, of a symbol, of a light, of a darkness, of motion. It depends on the encoding system that is used to represent those characters. That's the reason why we have Unicode, because this standard here was defined by ASCII, the American code for information interchange, standard code for information interchange. And they joined International Organization for Standardization, and they came up with what is called Unicode. Unicode now is used for universal representation of all the languages that you can think of. We have Unicode that can represent data under 8 bits, under 16 bits, under 32 bits. It depends on the encoding system that you want to use for your data. For example, you may have to encode motion of the object, or the color of the object, the darkness, the light, the signals, the letters, the numbers, the symbol. So if you require more than 8 characters, more than 8 bits, then you can use Unicode. So you can use Unicode that ranges from from 0 to 16 bits, or from 0 to 8 bits, or from 0 to 32 bits. But the overall range for Unicode is up to 32 bits, to encode a character in the system. And that's why Unicode is used to encode the characters for any language spoken in the world. And that's the reason why they came up with that. So the group of 8 bits can be kept at a space. I meant to say space here. I'm just repeating myself here again. So 2 raised to the power of 8 bit gives us 256 position. And this position is just a space inside the memory. And also we look at how kilobytes came about. Remember, I said bytes in the previous video, so you need to correct that. It's kilobytes. So a kilobyte came as a result of that 10-bit there. You see 10 bits, 2 raised to the power of 10 bits gives us the space, which is the smallest memory that you can have in a computer system. There's memory size. Just think of it like a page that you're seeing before you right now. Like one screen at a time. That is a page. Think of it like the size of the kilobyte is like that, because you cannot represent, or you cannot open several pages at the same time. Or if you open them, just know that each of the pages can be equivalent, or may be equivalent. I use the word may be equivalent because that one is more cool. May be equivalent to 1 kilobyte. So um, we talked about the extra 2 bits. We have 1 bit maybe to represent a character. I mean, the space before a character, and then another one, the space after a character. And that space is not like the character space itself, but it defines the beginning, where a character begins from and where the character ends, so that another one takes off from there. Or you can look at it in terms of asynchronous communication, which will define the sending of the character and the receiving of the character to confirm that the character has been sent or received. And that is why we needed, 2 extra bits were needed to make 10 bits, and 10 bits as a combination of the binary uh, number 2, because when you raise that 10 as the power of 2, you get 124 byte. And my friend, that is how kilobyte came about. That's how it came about. Many people confuse this, and they think maybe that 124 was an assumption. It was not assumption. It is actually the standard for communication. the standard to define the smallest size or the space of memory we can have, to represent a page of information for us to see. So thank you for viewing. This is just a recap for the previous video. In the next video, we are going to continue looking deeper into other measurements of file folders, directories, and I think this is the end for the fallacies that we have been trying to dig, and we have seen many of them. And if I encounter anything in the future, I will definitely point it out for you. So thank you for viewing.